Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon here again this morning. Sorry, I was trying something new with trying out that Zoom piece, but it looks like it's not actually going to work. So I'm back to the regular way that I've been doing these Facebook Lives. And so sorry, you won't be able to see my face, but hopefully I'll be able to see your comments this week. And I've got some fun little cards to create with you today. I'm actually going to make 3. And it's sort of a case. I had seen a card that a demonstrator in the United States had made, and I just absolutely loved the idea. So I wanted to kind of show you like a simple, little bit more complicated, kind of more advanced card using the Love of Leaves set. Good morning, Eileen. Good morning again, Catherine. So we're going to go really, really simple and work our way up to kind of more complicated this morning. So the first card that we're going to make, let's see, I just need to grab some paper here. All right, so the first card that we're going to make this morning is actually using a thick Whisper White card base. And then I've got a piece of crushed curry that is just a quarter of an inch smaller. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then a piece of Whisper White that's even a 1/4 inch smaller. Oh, kissing techniques would be awesome. Neat idea, Eileen. And then this one is 3 3/4 by 5. So it's kind of like all those little layers. And we're just going to use this one piece for stamping. I can actually move my dies because there's no dies on this one. This is going to be truly some simple stamping here. I am going to grab my crushed curry ink. And I am going to ink up. And so when you're inking this, my crushed curry is very wet. So I want to be very gentle. I'm just lightly touching it to the ink pad. And then I'm going to place this leaf right here. Oh, now that was way too wet. All right. So sometimes I find if the ink pad is just way too wet, you can either kind of sponge some off or do like a stamp off and then stamp it. No, that's going to be too light. Or we can sponge it on. So this ink, I don't know why. I could also use my bone folder and move some of the ink out of the way, which is not what I'm going to do today. So just make sure, oh no, that's way too dirty. Let's see if I can find a nice clean sponge to use. Well, let's at least see if I can find a dry sponge to use. There we go. All right. So I'm going to use my sponge to actually put the color on here because these are, these stamps have like their own kind of look to them. They've already got that texturing to them. So I don't want to add any, like too much ink to it or we won't get that really nice look. So now let's give this one a chance. It's a lot smaller. There we go. So it's actually going to ink up quite nicely. And so we're just going to pop in here and stamp that right there. So you can see we've got that really nice look to the 2 images. And now I'm just going to grab, there we go. I had just a little scrap of white laying around. It's 1/2 inch wide. And I'm going to grab my cinnamon cider and stamp my sentiment. So for today's card, I'm just creating some hello cards. I just want to pop out some fun little fall cards to some friends. So just a simple hello here, stamped in cinnamon cider. And I'm just going to use a pair of scissors to snip the edge. And I might even just trim that up a bit. There we go. So nothing fancy, just a pair of scissors, 2 colors of ink, and then we're going to kind of put this whole card together. So you can use liquid glue or I'm going to use some seal, and we're just putting this card together really fast. So this is like, you know, maybe not the simplest stamping because we do have that one layer there, but it's pretty simple stamping and pretty minimal materials here. 2 colors of cardstock, 2 colors of ink, and a pair of scissors and adhesive. So like really, really basic here. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, forgot to do my little flip up. So just about done gluing here. There we go. And pop this onto the front. This is my tough part, is actually getting this lined up. There we go. All right, so that's on there. And then I could either just glue this down over the bottom of my leaf, or I am going to get a little bit fancy and use some dimensionals, because even beginning crafters should own dimensionals. There we go. And pop that on there. So that is my very, very simple card. We're going to take this same card. I'm going to actually keep this card in kind of our view. We're going to take this same card again, and we're going to step it up a notch. So, same materials, white card base, same size yellow crushed curry layer, same size white layer, and more scraps, because I've got way too many of these scraps. But this time, we're actually going to grab a sponge for a different reason. I'm going to grab a sponge and my cinnamon cider. And I am going to dip my sponge into my cinnamon cider and start at the bottom of my card. And I don't have to do the whole thing because most of this is going to get covered. But I'm just going to kind of lightly go up the sides of my card and blend that until it kind of goes from the cinnamon cider into the crushed curry. And then I'm going to come back in and along the bottom, I'm really going to make it dark. And this doesn't have to be done very pretty or very evenly, because we're literally only seeing 1/8 of an inch around the sides. And so this layer is going to go on top of that, and you're not going to see the mess that you made. So nice and simple. We're going to do something similar with our stampings. I'm going to keep the cinnamon cider out with my sponge. I'm going to grab my crushed curry again, and I'm going to grab my same leaves again. We're going to give this another shot. There we go. And now I'm going to take my sponge to my image, and I'm going to sponge on some brown near the bottom. And when we look through there, we can kind of see where we got it darker, and if we got enough and all of that. I'm going to come up the side a little bit. There we go. So that's a nice look. And I'm going to stamp the same image in the same location. There we go. But it creates quite a different look. And now I'm going to grab my smaller leaf, ink it up as well, and again, just sponge on some cinnamon cider near the bottom of that, and pop in here a little bit to the side, and voila. So we've just added a bunch of texture to this leaf. Just adding that little bit of color, I find, just makes a huge difference. Oh, and we'll keep our cinnamon cider out so that I can stamp another little hello. There we go. Now we can close that up for a moment so I don't drop anything in it. I want to trim this. There we go. And that's going to pop on there again. But we've just created quite a new look to this card by adding this little bit of sponging. And so it's the same materials we used in the first card: 2 inks, 2 pieces of paper, some adhesive, and some scissors, and now we've just added in some Stampin' sponges. So really an inexpensive, really useful tool. And those sponges actually come in rounds, and I cut them into 6 pieces, and then I just use some cardstock, and that's what's stapled on the top so that I don't get my fingers inky, and so that I can tell what color each one was. So I'm not always great about doing it. I have like 50 sponges in my drawer with no labels. But recently I've been trying to get really consistent with when I actually use a sponge for a color, I'm starting to label them. It's my kind of goal for this year is to get my craft room really nicely organized, because it hasn't been for quite some time. All right, there we go. Pop that on. Grab this, put some dimensionals behind it. There we go. And then, because we're just a little bit craftier than this, we're not just going to do some sponging. We're also going to add in an embellishment. So these are the 2020-2022 in color enamel dots. And I do find I have some trouble pulling these ones off. There we go. Oh, and sometimes this happens to me. It's very frustrating, actually, that these little dots come off of the backing. When that happens, I've tried a few different things. The one that I like the end result of the most is to use a little dot of white glue. I find if you use a mini glue dot, the enamel dot always looks a little clouded afterwards. Right now this one will look a little clouded until that glue dries, and it will dry clear enough that you won't be able to tell the difference. I'm not really sure what it is that I do that makes that happen sometimes, because it definitely doesn't happen every time. Say it's about 1 in every 3 happens to me. Or 2 in 1 card. That's the rules of being live, is if it will go wrong, it will go wrong when you are live. All right, so those ones look a little cloudy right now, but as they dry, they will actually become totally clear. I can actually show you one here. This one I had to glue on earlier, and now that the glue's dry, it just looks like the other ones. No big deal. All right, so I'll leave that card there. So that is our second card. So we've just stepped it up a little bit. And now our third card, we are going to step it up a lot. Oh, is it? You know, I had heard a while back that that was happening. Then I actually had a few packs where it didn't happen at all. And now I've got this pack where it's happening again. So I don't know. I thought it was me, but maybe it is something to do with how they create those enamel dots. Makes me feel a bit better. But yeah, the liquid glue trick really works well. I know that the mini glue dots are definitely easier, but I do find that they leave just a little bit of a film that you can still see. All right, so I've just cleaned this off, and I don't need to clean my hello, but oh, actually I do. I need to clean all 3 of my stamps, because I don't want to go putting my stamp that has cinnamon cider ink on it into my crushed curry. So here we go. Last one. All right. And with that done, we're going to create our third and final card for today. And it's using the exact same design again. Same dimensions for all of the layers again. But this time we're going to bring the dies into the mix. So we've got ourselves a few more materials, and we're going to have a little bit more fun with this set. So instead of stamping our leaves onto our background, we're actually going to stamp them onto a piece of scrap paper. Good morning, Gwen. So let's grab our images again, grab our crushed curry again, and I'm going to ink that up, and again, just really lightly. And grab my cinnamon cider. Here we go. And just kind of ink that up. There. And then I'm going to stamp that on there. Set that to the side. Oh, I might have used too much cinnamon cider on that one. All right, well, we'll tone it down a bit on our smaller leaf. All right, and like that. All right, so, oh, I just stuck my finger in that ink, yuck. All right, so we are, oh no, we're not done with our cinnamon cider. We're done with our crushed curry though. So we can put that back, and we're going to grab that background, and we're going to do our whole cinnamon cider sponge on our background again. So remember, we can just start and get it nice and dark down here at the bottom. We can be really messy because it's only that 1/8 of an inch that's going to be visible. And then we'll just do our little sponge up the side, sponge up the side. Oh yeah, it's such a great one. Sometimes I use the finger daubers, but because I'm also doing this whole background piece, I just wanted to use one sponge and keep it simple. Normally if I'm doing just the inking on the stamp, I'll use the sponge daubers. Oh, and you guys, I got the best tip from Patty Bennett on how to store my sponge daubers. I've always had a problem with it. And check it out. I got a lipstick holder. And so in the bottom, I have the color. So there's my real red, and my little sponge dauber pops in there. And they're nice and easy. They all stay separate now. And so much better. And it looks really pretty on my shelf. So super excited about my new way of storing my sponge daubers. All right, so there's our messy background. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way because I'm going to bring in my Big Shot and, or sorry, oh my gosh, I keep calling it a Big Shot. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. There we go. And I'm going to show you my fabulous new plate that I have. I have the magnetic plate. So here is my handy cut and emboss machine, my regular #1 base. Here, I'll turn it around so you guys can see the numbers. So there's my regular #1 base, the regular #2 base that goes on there. And then instead of putting down one of these cutting plates, I'm actually going to put down a #5 base, which is a magnetic base. So it's black on one side and like this on the other. I'm going to put that down. And this is going to get wrecked, and that's okay. It's replaceable, but you can see it doesn't get too badly cut. These are one of like these self-healing mats on here, so it's going to take a lot longer than your regular #3 plates to get wrecked and have to be replaced. But the great thing about this is, unlike the old machine with the magnetic plate where the dies would jump all over the place, this plate, it's one solid magnet, no jumping around. So when I place this, it stays where I put it, which is so nice. So that die is in place. And then we've got these fancy ones that are going to do the extra stitching. And I'm going to pop that in place, and they're going to stay because it's on a magnet. And it's on a good magnet. There we go. And that one's in place. So now any errors is my fault because I just didn't line it up right, not because it moved on me after the fact. Then I'm going to take my #3 plate and put that over top to finish off our sandwich, and through we go. Okay, so I'll pull this off and let you see how, oh, I got hair there. Oh my goodness, I'm shedding. All right, I'm going to let you see how, well, first of all, that comes off so nicely. And we're not taking advantage of it on this card, but you guys, they also cut out with the stitching around the outside, which just makes for such a beautiful element on a card as well. But there we go, that has that stitching in the center, and you can see there, or maybe you can't because it's so faint. I'll try and bring it up so it's closer for you guys. You can see there the very slight impression that it made in the mat. So it's going to take a long time to wear out this magnetic plate and have to replace it because it makes such a minimal effect when you do your cutting here. All right, so we have our pieces. I'm not going to move this out of the way just yet though. I'm going to change up my plates because I don't need to use the magnetic one for this next piece. I am going to take my background, and there's another fabulous die in this set, and it's just all these crazy lines. And so I'm actually going to do that so that it's going to go across the top of my card. And, you know, I suppose I could use the magnetic one to hold this in place, but I'm not really too fussed with this as long as the lines are straight up and down rather. So there we go. Save my magnetic plate. As much as it does get quickly, I'm still not going to use it when I don't need to. All right. So when we remove this piece, voila, we have all those fun lines embossed on there. All right, let's bring back all of our card pieces, bring back our leaves. And now this time, instead of, so I had stamped the hello there on a little white piece. This time around, I have a little piece of cinnamon cider. We're going to stamp our hello in exactly the same way, except that because we're working on cinnamon cider, I am going to use Versamark and I'm going to emboss it in white. All right, and actually, I am just going to trim my end first. Which way do I want it? Yeah, I want it like that. So I'm going to trim one end first. I'm not going to bother trimming the other end because we're going to cover it up. And I'm just going to kind of see for placement where I want my hello. All right. So I want the center of my hello there. There we go. And now I'm going to grab my embossing powder. I just keep all of my embossing stuff on one tray, and that makes it really easy to just grab and go. All right. There, that's all done. And I just keep some scrap paper so it's easy to pour it back in. And I find I emboss a lot more when I have stuff like this going on where it's so easy for me to grab and use. Because, yeah, it's easy. I don't have to work to get materials and to use them. All right, we'll plug in our heat tool. And here we go. So I always make sure to unplug my heat tool when I'm done. Just don't want any accidents in the house. Have that thing drop and turn on by accident. All right, so now we're going to glue these things down. And I'm just going to grab some seal. Here we go. So all these layers are going to get put together now with either seal or dimensionals. So there we go. Doo-doo-doo. And pop this onto there. So yeah, while I'm just putting all these layers together, a few things I wanted to let you know about. We're coming up close to the deadline to sign up for my Wishes and Wonder stamp camp that I'm doing with a bunch of demonstrators here across Canada. That's actually going to be happening on World Card Making Day on October 3rd. And so you can go into my events and see all the information about that, or over to my blog at stampinwithleah.ca and check that out. It is a smoking deal when you purchase the Wishes and Wonder bundle or an equivalent value bundle through me using the host code attached to that stamp camp. You will automatically receive all of your bits and pieces and access to our live event on October 3rd. It runs from 10 to 4. There'll be prizes. There's 5 of us demonstrating, and it's 10 cards that you're actually going to get to make. Right, I'm just going to trim the end of that a bit. There we go. So really, it's going to be such a fun way to spend World Card Making Day. But yeah, the deadline is tomorrow because I do need to get it all cut and prepped and sent off before the class begins. So yeah, got to get that done. And then tomorrow is the 23rd, and Stampin' Up! Is holding a one-day sale. They have select stamp sets on sale for 15% off. You can see that whole list. I did send out an email last night. I'll do another post later today that kind of highlights all of that. But so that's happening with Stampin' Up! So pretty exciting. Love it when they have these little flash sales. It's just 24-hour sale, and yeah, it'll be awesome. Okay, and we'll put that one down there. Ah, voila, no problems with those ones. All right, so there's our third card. Oops. All right, so we go from our very, very simple, nothing wrong with that card, to a little bit stepped up with that sponging, to like full-on details here with all of the stitching and just all the extra stuff. Can demonstrators get the discount on a demo order? Yes, you can. Any order that's placed between midnight on the morning of the 23rd all the way till 11:59 p.m. on the 23rd will get that sale pricing. So demonstrator order, customer order, workshop order, doesn't matter, as long as it goes in during their specified time frame. Yeah, so it's going to be a great sale, and then a wonderful World Card Making Day event. And I'm also holding my first club night this Thursday. If you missed out on joining us for our September club, don't worry, give me a call and we'll get you all signed up to join us in October. I'm kind of running like a rolling club, so people don't all have to start at the same time. Just the requirement is that you go through and do your 6 months worth of the club. And yeah, so give me a call. October's coming up quickly. The deadline to register for that one is the same as the Paper Pumpkin deadline. You need to register by October 10th to get in on that series. So yeah, that's what's going on. And this is my kind of one card, three ways kind of progression. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Have a wonderful Tuesday. And enjoy. It looks like the sunshine's going to pop out a little bit after last night's rain. So hope you all get out to enjoy that. And I will see you next Tuesday. All right. Bye-bye.